The construction of I-95 and the 836 highways in the late 1950s displaced people from the Central Negro District, commonly known as Overtown, and dispersed them into other parts of Miami-Dade County. And although black people live in conditions were slightly improved, they were still below standards of their white counterparts. One woman who sought to raise those standards was Mary Athalie Range.
I met Athalie Range when I was about 11 years old. Ms. Range had such a strong force. She was kind and she was pushy. She made you do stuff. She pushed you to be better than what you thought you could be, and I like that about her.
My name is Norman Patrick Range. My mother's name was Mary Athalie Wilkinson Range. Wilkinson was her maiden name. And she was born on November 7th, 1915. She grew up here in Miami.
Well, I know there were colored schools, children in kindergarten, starting with Miss Anderson. I used to always hear Dorothy Graham talk about Miss Anderson's school. Many of the children went to her, and some that you might have heard of. Lena Horne. Lena Horne, the actress, was a frequent visitor to Miami growing up. And whoever it was that she lived with sent her to Miss Anderson's school along with Garth Reeves and Athalie Range. Mrs. Range often talked about Lena Horne being in her class.
She attended Booker Washington High School.
And incidentally, Father Gibson, the late Father Gibson, was her prom date when they went to high school together. I thought that was cute.
She graduated from Booker Washington, and she eventually went to work for Afro Insurance Company. She then met and married my father, Oscar L. Range, who was born in Valdosta, Georgia. He came to Miami along with his mother, who worked for a family that was the owners of First Federal Savings and Loan Association. He worked with them for a while, and then he became employed with Afro-American Insurance Company. I think it was at Afro that he and my mother met, and they were married. To our family was born, or to mother and dad's family, was born 4 children. The oldest of which was my sister, Myrna Arlita Range. I was the second child, Norman Patrick Range. My brother Oscar L. Range II was born. And then my youngest brother, Gary Range, was born.
I grew up with them. I remember when he was born, but when Mrs. Range got pregnant with Gary, Myrna came to me and she was so angry because somebody said her mama's going to have a baby. And that's not true. Beatrice Johnson, how could you go around telling people that my mama's going to have a baby? And I said, well, is she? I said, because I would love to have a baby brother or baby sister. And she said, that's not true. Oh, lo and behold, about 4 or 5 months later, Myrna gets a new baby brother. And he is so cute. And we all just loved him.
We all grew up as a family, not that close together. Myrna and myself were a few years older than Oscar, and Oscar was a few years older than Gary. I was born here in Miami, Florida, December 7th, 1939, here in Liberty City, Florida. I grew up in Liberty City. Growing up as a child, the racial climate in Miami was very defined. We were black, they were white. And they more or less treated us as stepchildren to the community. We felt that we had a place and that our place should be as good as theirs or anyone else's. So our attitudes were that we were equal.
And with that mindset, the Ranges went about pushing for equal access to goods and services.
I went to Liberty City Elementary School, which was actually a small primary school that was found on 17th Avenue and Northwest 62nd Street. It was a school made of portable buildings. We attended school from the first through the fifth grade there. My mother became involved in the PTA of the school and was very instrumental in creating a lot of changes. When we were in school, we had lunches that were brought from Miami Edison High School that were brought on plates that we ate on in our classrooms. And of course, the meals by the time we got them were cold. However, that was the best that we could do. And we ate them and thought that it was okay. The drinking fountains were fountains that were in the ground, pipes in the ground, and water came up through the pipes, and that's how we got water, how we drank.
But the children going at PE at recess time, there was a faucet, a spigot or whatever you call it, and the pipes were on top of the ground. So the sun would heat the water, and the children had to drink hot water when they went to physical education, when they went to recess. Mrs. Range fought that so hard.
Some of the parents began to suggest that we write the school board and tell them that we were not satisfied with the conditions under which our children were being educated. I felt that writing letters never helped, so I said rather than writing letters, let's all get together. The PTA meeting was on a Tuesday and the school board met on Wednesday. We decided we would go that Wednesday, and we went to the school board unannounced. About 125 people went to the meeting. It was a very great surprise to the school board members. We got there very early because we did not know when the meeting started. We filled up every seat in the auditorium. Consequently, the other parents who were accustomed to going and talking were left without a seat. They delayed the meeting for an hour, hoping that maybe we would go away. Finally, the superintendent called the meeting together, and I shall always remember what he said. We have an unusual situation here today. In order to get our meeting moving, we have a large group of Negroes here, so we're going to hear what they have to say. If there is a spokesman among you, you may come up. I went up and spoke for 15 minutes without a note. One of the school board administrators walked out of the meeting afterwards and asked our school principal, "Who was the silver-tongued derringer they sent down here to hang us?"
My mother, uh, recognizing the differences in the communities, fought first of all for schools due to the results of activities of my mother, other people of the community. One that I recall was Mr. Forrest Reynolds. They formed the PTA, and due to the conditions there, she fought to move us, or to move the school, Liberty City Elementary School, which was a school of portables, to a building, Liberty City Elementary School, which was located at 71st Street and 18th Avenue, or 71st Street and 19th Avenue. That was quite a move into a structured building. We attended there. At that time, I was in 5th grade when we moved to the new school.
I met Athalie Range when I was about 11 years old, and she was on the PTA at Liberty City Elementary, and her children, two older children, Myrna and Patrick, we were all in the same grade, 6th grade. And we became friends at Liberty City Elementary. Ms. Range has such a strong force. She was one of the reasons that that new school was built.
We went there for 1 year because we were in the 5th grade when we were transferred to the new school. And from there, we went to Dorsey High School, which was just a half block away. Attended Dorsey through the 7th grade, and then my family moved over town. As a result of that, when I say we, I'm speaking of myself, my sister and myself, who were very close. We transferred to Booker Washington High School. And from there, which was 8th grade through 12th grade, I attended Booker T. My mother met Ms. Theoria Houston, who was the chairperson at Christian Memorial Hospital. Mother became an administrator there at Christian Hospital. And my dad, having gone to mortuary school, came back and started working for Dr. Kelsey Farr, who was the owner of Farr's Funeral Home and who also owned Lincoln Memorial Cemetery, which was the cemetery that blacks used in Brownsville, Miami. He worked with Dr. Farr until Dr. Farr retired. And once Dr. Farr retired, then my dad decided to open a funeral home here in the Liberty City area. That was back in 1953. And in 1953, he and my mother started the business on Northwest 15th Avenue in Liberty City and remained there until they bought property on 62nd Street. And we transferred the operation of the funeral home to a building, a home actually, on 62nd Street and Northwest 12th Avenue, which was the first location after moving from 15th Avenue. We stayed there until they purchased a kindergarten that was located in our present location, which is here at 5727 Northwest 17th Avenue. So once they moved to this location, they renovated it on several different times. Actually, when we first moved here, we not only had the funeral home, but we had living quarters on the first level, which it was a one-story building at the time, and we had living quarters in the back of the funeral home. And it was there that I finished growing up. After attending Booker T, I enrolled at Morehouse College in Atlanta. And my brother, Gary Range, my youngest brother, she helped him to integrate schools here in Dade County.
But Mrs. Range was also instrumental in desegregating the schools, and she used her youngest son to do so. He was one of the first black students at Orchard Villa Elementary School, and Mrs. Range fought for that.
Mrs. Range, in what grade is your son Gary?
Gary is a beginner. He's being registered for the first time in public school. He's only 6 years old.
Mr. Range, why did you register your son at Orchard Villa School?
We registered our son at Orchard Villa School because that was the nearest school to us where we live.
And your address?
It's 5727 Northwest 17th Avenue.
Have you lived there long?
We lived there 1 year.
Aside from the Orchard Villa School, what is the closest other school for your son to attend?
There are 3 schools in the Liberty City area, but either of those schools are almost a mile away. And unfortunately, they are all on the opposite sides of unguarded crossings and thoroughfares. 62nd Street and Northwest 54th Street and 17th Avenue are all very, very busy streets, and we would certainly not think of sending a 6-year-old child across those streets 10 to 12 blocks away from home when we have a school that is only 2 blocks away from our residence.
How long have you lived in Miami, Mr. Range?
I have lived in Miami 25 years. I'm a taxpayer. I have owned my own business for 6 years.
She carried my brother Gary to Orchard Villa, and from there he graduated and became one of 3 black graduates of Orchard Villa Elementary School. But Gary was a very outgoing child and very forward, and he saw it as an opportunity to make a contribution to the community.
And although blacks were finally granted their own beach in 1947, Oscar and others sought to integrate Crandon Beach to the south in late November 1959.
My mother was not as involved with the integration of Crandon Park as was my father, who, along with Garth Reeves and a couple of other people, were the first to integrate Crandon Park. They went there. However, that was the first time, and they became the black face of Crandon Park.
A few months later, in the following year, Oscar Range Sr. died after suffering from a heart attack.
I've been bothering my dad about a car while I was in school, and about the last month or so that I was attending Morehouse, my dad decided that he would bring a car up to me. Well, as things turned out, he didn't get to do that. He died the same day that he was planning to bring the car. And of course, that created quite a change in the directions of things in my life. I came home to the funeral and discussed things with my mother, and we decided that she would go to mortuary school in order to continue to perpetuate the business. While she was in mortuary school, I came here as a graduate of Morehouse, and I ran the funeral home with her coming back and forth from Boston, Massachusetts, which is where the mortuary school that she attended. Incidentally, my dad also attended that school, and so did I. After she returned to Miami, then I went to mortuary school and received my license as a funeral director, came back and attempted to, or actually assisted her in running the business. Shortly thereafter, she was encouraged to run for a position on the city commission, which she did and was defeated the first time. However, after that defeat, the person that she ran against resigned the position, and she accepted it as an appointment.
I'm indeed grateful for my appointment to the Miami City Commission just a few moments ago. I said to those who were present here in the room that first of all, I feel it is a very noble deed of the Honorable Mayor Robert King High and his fellow commissioners to have made this appointment. I would like to pledge to the people of the city of Miami that I will serve with all sincerity and integrity. I will work with this commission for the betterment of the city of Miami.
She served as a city commissioner, being the first black and the first lady to serve the city commission of the city of Miami. She, as a commissioner, first of all, was very disturbed by the service that the city was giving to the black community. And when I say service, I mean service such as menially as trash pickups and so forth. She fought for regular trash pickups. She fought to see to it that blacks communities were served the same as were other communities in the city of Miami. She did a number of things that brought the level of living to a higher standard in our community. After being appointed, she then ran for that position and was successful. Shortly after that, she was tapped by Governor Askew to become a person in public affairs for the state of Florida, being the first lady and first black to hold that position. She went to Tallahassee and maintained that position for a good while. Her role, so far as I can remember, as Secretary of Community Affairs was to regulate activities on a state level that affected not only the black communities, but affected communities throughout the state. Our business here continued to grow, and of course I was a young person and I felt the strain of it and suggested to my mother that that we needed to be here together. She, in turn, decided to return to Miami, and we ran the funeral home. During that time, she was very instrumental in public affairs here in the city of Miami.
In 1979, President Jimmy Carter appointed Athalie to the National Railroad Passenger Commission, the commission that runs the nation's railroads, which includes Amtrak. And in 1989, when there was a vacant seat on the Miami Commission, Range was called on once more to serve. In 1999, Athalie Range and others joined forces to preserve the Virginia Key Beach as a historic landmark. The Virginia Key Beach Trust was created.
She, in turn, I think with Mr. Gene Tinney, became involved with the development of Virginia Key as a park for Black people.
When we say good night at this moment, it's the last time we'll say good night on this side, for when the morning comes, we'll be awakened and it will be good morning up there, where race, creed, nor color knows any difference. And so we say for your listening, good night, beloved. Good night, beloved. Sleep and take thy rest. Lay down thy head upon our Savior's breast. We love thee well, but Jesus loves thee best. Good night.
Athalie Range passed away in 2006. She was 91 years old.
Mrs. Range was so instrumental, such a instrumental figure in my life. She was kind and she was pushy. She made you do stuff. She pushed you to be better than what you thought you could be, and I like that about her. I will always remember her